Hello and welcome back to English Journey. I'm so glad you're here today because we're going to talk about something that touches every single person on this planet: money. It doesn't matter if you're a student trying to survive on pocket money or a busy parent paying bills every month, or even someone who already has a good salary. Money is always in our lives. And when English speakers talk about money, they don't just use simple words like rich or poor. Very often, they use idioms. Idioms are special expressions. They don't mean exactly what the words say, but native speakers understand them immediately. If you want your English to sound more natural and more alive, learning idioms is a great step. Today, I'll guide you through a journey of some of the most common money idioms. I'll explain what they mean, how to use them, and I'll also share examples from real life, so you'll never forget them. So take a deep breath, get your notebook ready if you want, and let's begin our money idiom journey. Idiom 1. Flat broke. The first idiom is flat broke. If you are flat broke, it means you have no money at all. Your wallet is empty. Your bank account is empty. You can't even buy small things like coffee or a bus ticket. Think about the end of the month. Maybe you already paid your rent, your phone bill, your electricity, and your food shopping. After all that, you check your wallet and you see only one coin. That's it. You can't go out with friends. You can't buy snacks. You are flat broke. Example 1. Imagine a university student. After exams, he goes on a short trip with his friends. They stay in a cheap hostel, but they still spend money on food, drinks, and transport. When the student comes back, he checks his account. Almost nothing left. He has to eat instant noodles every day until next payday. That student is flat broke. Example 2. Let's say you wanted to give your family nice Christmas gifts. You buy clothes for your sister, books for your dad, toys for your little cousins. It feels great to give, but in January, when the credit card bill arrives, you realize you are flat broke. Example 3. I still remember my own experience when I first started working. I got my very first salary, and I was so excited. I went shopping, bought myself some new clothes, ate in a nice restaurant, and even treated my friends. But within 1 week, almost all of it was gone. For the rest of the month, I had to say no to every invitation. I was flat broke. Being flat broke is stressful, but it's also a very common situation. That's why this idiom is so useful in daily conversation. Many people can relate to it. For example, you can say, "Sorry, I can't come to the cinema tonight. I'm flat broke. I really want a new phone, but I'm flat broke this month. After paying for my car repair, I was flat broke." Now, here's a little tip for learning. When you study an idiom, don't just memorize the meaning. Try to connect it to your own life. Ask yourself, when was the last time I was flat broke? Maybe it was after a holiday. maybe after buying something expensive, or maybe after helping a friend. If you can remember your own story, you'll never forget the idiom so. That's the first idiom flat broke. It means you have no money at all. Asterisk idiom 2. Tighten your belt. Second idiom is tighten your belt. Literally, when you tighten your belt, you make it smaller because maybe you lost weight. But in money idioms, tighten your belt means to spend less money than usual. You cut down your expenses. You only pay for the most important things like rent, food, or transport, and you avoid spending on extras like new clothes, restaurants, or entertainment. It's like saying, I have less money now, so I must live more simply. Example 1. Imagine you receive your salary and then suddenly the electricity bill is much higher than you expected. You pay the bill, but now you have less money left for the month. So what do? You stop going to cafes. You stop ordering takeaway. You cook at home every day. You are tightening your belt. Example 2. When I first moved to a big city, I had to tighten my belt. The rent was very expensive and my salary was small. I couldn't afford to go out often. Instead of taking the bus, I sometimes walked for 40 minutes, even in the rain, just to save money. That's a true example of tightening your belt. Example 3. I had a friend who lost his job for a few months. During that time, he really had to tighten his belt. He cancelled his gym membership, stopped buying new clothes, and he even moved back to his parents' house to save money. Later, when he found a new job, he could breathe again. But those few months taught him how to manage his money better. Common sentences you can use. After buying a new laptop, I had to tighten my belt for the rest of the month. The company is not doing well, so everyone has to tighten their belt. When I was a student, I was always tightening my belt. Learning tip. Here's a small trick for remembering this idiom. Imagine you're wearing trousers that are too big. If you don't tighten your belt, they will fall down. In the same way, if you don't control your money, your financial life will fall down. So, tightening your belt means holding everything together tightly, just like you do with your real belt. Practice exercise. I want you to stop for a moment and think, when did you last tighten your belt? Maybe it was when you had to save for a holiday. Maybe it was after buying something expensive like a phone or furniture. Or maybe you are tightening your belt right now because life is expensive. Write down one sentence about your own life using this idiom. For example, I had to tighten my belt last year when I moved into a new apartment. This way, the idiom becomes real and personal to you, not just a phrase in a book. Why this idiom matters? We all have times when we need to spend less. Life is not always stable. Sometimes we get a bonus. Sometimes we face big bills. Being able to say tighten my belt makes your English sound natural and also shows that you understand this common life situation. It also teaches us something bigger, learning to manage money. It's like learning English. Sometimes you have to sacrifice, be patient, and focus on what's most important. If you can do that little by little, you will succeed. So, the second idiom is tighten your belt. It means to spend less money than usual, to live simply, and to cut extra costs. Asterisk idiom 3. Spend money like water. Third idiom is spend money like water. Let's look at the picture first. When water flows from a tap, it just runs quickly and continuously. If you don't stop it, the water goes everywhere, and it's gone before you know it. When we say someone spends money like water, it means they spend money very fast, very easily, and often without thinking. The money just disappears, just like water running from a tap. Example 1. Imagine it's payday. You finally receive your salary. You feel excited and free. On Saturday, you go shopping. You buy new shoes, a new jacket, maybe even the latest phone. You don't think about how much you're spending. By Sunday night, most of your money is gone already. That is exactly spending money like water. Example 2. I have a cousin who does this all the time. When she gets her salary, she goes straight to the shopping mall. She buys expensive makeup, new clothes, even home decorations that she doesn't really need. A week later, she says, "Oh no, I don't have money for food." She spends money like water every single month. Example 3. When I was younger, I also had this problem. I remember getting my first big paycheck. I felt rich for the first time in my life. That weekend, I went out with friends, ate in nice restaurants, bought some new gadgets, and even paid for other people's meals. It felt amazing at the moment, but within just a few days, my account was almost empty. I had spent money like water, and I regretted it very quickly. Useful sentences you can use every time she goes shopping. She spends money like water. I must be careful this month. Last month I spent money like water, and now I'm flat broke. He inherited some money and spent it like water in just 6 months. Learning tip: to remember this idiom, try to imagine money as water. Picture yourself holding a bottle of water with a hole at the bottom. If you don't close it, the water just pours out and disappears. That's exactly how money works when you're careless. It just flows away. So when you study this idiom, connect it to that picture. Every time you spend too quickly, think, am I spending money like water? This simple image will help you remember and also control yourself. Practice exercise. Think about your own life. Was there ever a time when you spent money like water? Maybe it was after a holiday bonus. Maybe it was during a big sale. Maybe it was when you felt happy and wanted to celebrate. Now, try to write 1 or 2 sentences. For example, I spent money like water during the summer vacation when I bought my first gaming console. I also spent money like water on games. By making personal sentences, you will fix this idiom in your memory. Why this idiom is important? Spending money like water is a universal experience. Almost everyone has done it at least once. That's why it's such a powerful idiom. When you use it, people immediately understand not only the meaning, but also the feeling behind it, the regret, the surprise, and sometimes even the excitement. It also teaches us a life lesson. Spending money like water can make you happy for a short time, but in the long run, it leaves you stressed and flat broke. In the same way, if you only study English in short bursts without discipline, you may feel excited at first, but you won't make steady progress. To succeed, you need balance, enjoyment, but also control. So, the third idiom is spend money like water. It means to use money very fast and carelessly, almost without limit, until it is gone. Asterisk idiom 4. Cost an arm, and a letter fourth idiom is cost an arm and a leg. At first, this sounds scary, like you need to pay with your body. Of course, it's not real. This idiom means something is extremely expensive, much more than you expect or much more than it's worth. When we say, it costs an arm and a leg, we mean the price is so high, it feels like you're giving away something very important, like your arm or your leg. Example 1. Imagine you want to buy the newest iPhone. You go to the shop and the price shocks you. It's way too high for your budget. You say, wow, this phone costs an arm and a leg. Example 2. Last year, I wanted to travel abroad. I looked at plane tickets. At first, I thought they would be around for $100. But the actual price was almost $1,100. I told my friend, these tickets cost an arm and a leg. I couldn't believe how expensive they were. Example 3. A friend of mine once bought a designer handbag. She saved for months, but even then the price was shocking. When she finally showed it to me, she laughed and said, yes, it cost an arm and a leg, but I love it. That's a perfect use of the idiom. Common sentences you can use. The concert tickets cost an arm and a leg. I want that car, but it costs an arm and a leg. Studying abroad can cost an arm and a leg. Learning tip. Here's how to remember this idiom. Picture yourself at a shop. The seller says, this item is very expensive. You need to pay with money and one of your arms or legs. That image is funny and shocking, and it helps you remember the meaning, very expensive. Practice exercise. Think about something in your life that cost an arm and a leg. Maybe it was a computer, a phone, or some special shoes. Maybe it was a trip, a concert, or even a wedding. Now, write one sentence about it. For example, my laptop cost an arm and a leg, but I need it for work. The hotel near the beach cost an arm and a leg, so I didn't book it. This way, the idiom becomes connected to your real experiences. Why this idiom is important? This idiom is very common in English conversations. People use it often to complain about high prices. If you know this idiom, you can express yourself in a natural, emotional way. Instead of only saying it's expensive, you can say it costs an arm and a leg. That shows both meaning and feeling. It also reminds us that sometimes in life and in learning, we must decide whether something that costs an arm and a leg is really worth it. For example, investing in education or language learning may seem expensive, but the value it brings in the future can be priceless. So, the fourth idiom is cost an arm and a leg. It means something is extremely expensive. So expensive it feels like you're giving away a part of yourself. Asterisk idiom 5, break the bank. The fifth idiom is break the bank. Literally, it sounds like destroying a bank. But in idioms, it means to cost so much money that it uses up all your savings or is very difficult to afford. When we say, it will break the bank, we mean, it's too expensive for me. If I buy it, I'll have no money left. Example 1. Imagine you want to buy a luxury car. The price is so high that if you bought it, your account would be empty. You would say, this car would break the bank. Example 2. When I was a student, I really wanted a laptop. Some models were very expensive. They looked nice, but buying one would have broken the bank because I didn't have much money at that time. In the end, I bought a cheaper one. Example 3. Sometimes people use this idiom in a positive way too. For example, if something is cheaper than you expect, you can say, it won't break the bank. Imagine you see a pair of shoes for $20 and you thought they would be $80. You smile and say, buying these shoes won't break the bank. Common sentences you can use. That vacation would break the bank. A small gift won't break the bank. Don't eat in that restaurant every day. It will break the bank. Learning tip to remember this idiom: think of a real bank filled with money. If something breaks the bank, it smashes the bank open and takes away all the money. That's how you can remember. It means too expensive, almost impossible to afford. Practice exercise. Think about something you want right now. Maybe it's a new phone, a new bike, or even a holiday trip. Does it break the bank or not? Now, try to write one sentence. For example, I want to buy a new iPad, but it would break the bank. Eating out once a week won't break the bank, but eating out every day will. When you use this idiom with your own life, it becomes much easier to remember. Why this idiom is important? This idiom is very useful in daily life. Money is always a part of our conversation, shopping, travel, food, or even studying abroad. Instead of just saying it's too expensive, you can say, it will break the bank. That sounds natural, emotional, and truly like a native speaker. It also teaches us another life lesson. Sometimes we think success must break the bank. For example, we think we need the most expensive teacher, the most expensive books, or the most expensive courses to learn English. But in reality, Learning English doesn't have to break the bank. With discipline, free resources, and daily practice, you can grow step by step without spending too much. So, the fifth idiom is break the bank. It means something is so expensive that it almost empties your money or very difficult to afford. Asterisk idiom 6. Live paycheck to paycheck. The sixth idiom is live paycheck to paycheck. This phrase describes a very common financial situation. It means a person uses almost all of their salary every month to cover living expenses, rent, food, transport, bills. When the next paycheck comes, they need it immediately, because the money from the last paycheck is already gone. In other words, they don't have savings. They just survive from one paycheck to the next, always waiting for the next salary. Example 1. Imagine you earned $1,000 each month. Your rent is $1,000, food is $500, transport and bills are $400, and other small expenses are $100. That's exactly $1,000. At the end of the month, you have nothing left. When your salary arrives again, you breathe a sigh of relief. That is living paycheck to paycheck. Example 2. I once had a colleague who lived paycheck to paycheck. Every time we were close to the end of the month, she said, "I can't wait until payday. I'm almost out of money." She wasn't poor, but she didn't have savings. All her money disappeared each month. Example 3. Sometimes people who live paycheck to paycheck still buy small luxuries. They go to restaurants or buy new clothes, but that means at the end of the month, they are stressed, waiting for their next salary. Common sentences you can use. Many families are living paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck anymore. If you spend too much, you may end up living paycheck to paycheck. Learning tip: to remember this idiom. Imagine a chain of paychecks. You live from one to the next, like stepping on stones across a river. You can only survive by moving to the next paycheck. If one paycheck is late, you fall into the water. That's how serious this situation feels. Practice exercise. Think about yourself or someone you know. Do you live paycheck to paycheck? Now, try to make a sentence. When I was a student, I lived paycheck to paycheck. My cousin lives paycheck to paycheck because rent is very expensive. Writing one personal sentence will help you truly remember this idiom. Why this idiom is important? This idiom is not only common in English, but it also describes a reality that millions of people face. If you use this idiom, people know you understand the struggle of money pressure. It also teaches us a lesson about planning. Living paycheck to paycheck is stressful because one unexpected expense like a car repair or a hospital bill can create big problems. In life and in learning English, we need to prepare, build savings, and not always depend on the last minute. Small daily practice in English is like saving little by little. It protects you from stress later. So, the sixth idiom is live paycheck to paycheck. It means using all your salary each month with no savings, always depending on the next paycheck. Idiom 7. Money doesn't grow on trees. The seventh idiom is money doesn't grow on trees. This is a very common expression in English, especially when parents talk to children, or when someone wants to remind another person that money is limited. Of course, we all know that trees don't grow money. Trees grow leaves, fruits, and flowers. But this idiom means that money is not easy to get. It's not unlimited. It doesn't just appear magically. You have to work hard to earn it, and you should not waste it. Example 1. Imagine a child in a shop says, "Mom, can you buy me this toy and this video game? And this candy?" The mom answers, "No, I can't buy everything. Money doesn't grow on trees." This means she must be careful with spending. Example 2. A teenager wants new clothes every month. His father says, "Slow down. Money doesn't grow on trees." The father is teaching him to value money. Example 3. At work, a manager might say, "We must use the company budget carefully. Remember, money doesn't grow on trees." This means the company cannot spend without thinking. Common sentences you can use: I can't buy a new car right now. Money doesn't grow on trees. Please turn off the lights when you leave the room. Electricity costs money, and money doesn't grow on trees. She spends money like water, but she needs to remember money doesn't grow on trees. Learning tip: this idiom is easy to remember if you picture a tree in your mind. Imagine a tree full of money instead of leaves. Everyone would just take money every day. If money really grew on trees, nobody would work. But in reality, it doesn't. That's why we need this idiom. Try saying it aloud when you feel tempted to buy something expensive. Wait, money doesn't grow on trees. This small exercise will not only help you control your spending, but also make the idiom natural in your speech. Practice exercise. Think of a situation in your own life where you had to remind yourself or someone else that money is limited. Make 1 or 2 sentences. When my son wanted expensive sneakers, I told him money doesn't grow on trees. Sometimes I want to buy the newest phone, but then I remember money doesn't grow on trees. Write them down or say them aloud. This practice connects the idiom to your own story, which makes it much easier to remember. Why this idiom is important: this idiom shows responsibility. It's not only about language, but also about life wisdom. English speakers often use it to teach children, but also among adults when talking about careful spending. If you use this idiom, people will understand that you respect money and understand the effort behind earning it. It also connects to English learning. Think about your time and energy. They don't grow on trees either. You need to use them wisely. If you spend too much time scrolling on your phone or watching random videos, then you may not have enough time to practice English. Just like with money, you need to budget your time carefully. So remember, money doesn't grow on trees. It means money is limited and we should not waste it. Parents use it with children, Companies use it at work, and all of us can use it in daily life. Asterisk idiom 8. In the red, in the black, the idiom is actually to opposite expressions. In the red and in the black, these idioms come from the world of accounting. In a bank account or a company ledger, red numbers show a loss, meaning you owe money or have spent more than you earned. Black numbers show profit or a positive balance, meaning you have money left. In everyday English, we use these idioms to describe financial situations in life, not just in business. In the red, if you are in the red, it means you owe money or have no extra money. Your expenses are higher than your income. Example 1. Imagine you went shopping, paid all your bills, and now your account shows $50. You are in the red. You need to save money or earn more before spending again. Example 2. A small company spends too much on supplies and salaries in 1 month. They are in the red, meaning they lost money that month. Example 3. Many students are in the red at the end of the month. They bought books, ate out, or paid for entertainment, and now there's almost nothing left in their account. In the black, if you are in the black, it means your finances are positive. You have money left. You are not in debt. Example 1. After selling some old things, saving on groceries, and being careful with spending, you check your account and see a positive balance. You are in the black. Example 2. A business that earns more than it spends every month is in the black. That means it's successful financially. Example 3. I remember the first time I managed to save some money from my salary. I felt amazing. I was finally in the black, not worried about running out of money. Common sentences you can use. After paying all my bills, I'm still in the red. The company has been in the black for 5 months in a row. If you spend wisely, you can stay in the black every month. Learning tip: picture a bank statement. Red numbers mean danger, black numbers mean safety. Every time you check your budget or account, imagine these colors. Red equals owe money, black equals safe. That visual makes the idiom easy to remember. Practice exercise. Think about your own finances. Are you in the red or in the black right now? Write one sentence. After buying my new laptop, I was in the red. After saving for a few months, I'm finally in the black. When you connect these idioms to your real life, they stick in your memory. Why this idiom is important: these idioms are common in conversations about money, both personal and business. They help you talk naturally about your finances. Instead of saying, I have no money, or I have some money left, you can say in the red or in the black. Also, this idiom teaches a bigger lesson. Careful planning and saving help you stay in the black. Just like consistent practice in English helps you make progress. If you don't manage money or time, well, you risk being in the red, stressed, or behind on your goals. So, the 8th idiom is in the red, in the black. Red means negative, losing money. Black means positive, having money. Both are very useful in everyday English.